In the dead of night, the rain fell like 1,000 tiny needles, piercing the city's cold skin. People rushed by, hidden beneath their umbrellas, their faces turned away from the world. No one had time for compassion. But on a forgotten street corner under a broken bus shelter, a young woman named Clara sat shivering, clutching her crying baby to her chest. Her clothes were soaked, her lips pale. Still she whispered softly, "It's okay, baby. Mommy's here." Across the street, a sleek black car pulled up. Out stepped Ethan Reed, the city's most feared CEO, a man whose heart was said to be colder than ice. He had built his empire on ruthless decisions, crushing any emotion that stood in his way. But tonight, something caught his eye. Through the rain-streaked windshield, he saw the fragile figure huddled under the flickering light. He tried to ignore it, telling himself it was none of his business. But then the baby cried again, a sharp, desperate sound that cut through the storm. Without a second thought, Ethan crossed the street. Clara looked up, startled, clutching her child protectively. "I'm sorry, sir," she stammered, her voice trembling. "We'll move soon. I just needed to feed her. Promise we won't cause any trouble." Ethan frowned, his gaze softening slightly. "Are you alone out here?" She nodded weakly. "Yes, we have nowhere else to go." The baby whimpered, and as Clara rocked her, Ethan saw the tiny, innocent face. An ache he hadn't felt in years stirred within him. "Come with me," he said, his voice firm. Clara blinked, confused. What?" Inside, he repeated. "You can't stay out here." Too stunned to argue, she followed him into the magnificent marble lobby of his building. The staff stared in disbelief. Ethan Reed, leading a disheveled woman and her baby into his private elevator. It was unheard of. In his penthouse, he ordered dry towels, food, and baby formula. Clara hesitated by the door, afraid to step on the pristine carpet. "I don't belong here," she whispered. He turned, his tone softer now. "Tonight, you do." As the warmth finally seeped into her bones, Clara broke down. She told him her story in fragments, how her husband had died, how the bills piled up, how she lost their home and ended up on the streets with nothing but her child. Ethan listened in silence. Her pain echoed a loss he had buried deep inside. Years ago, he had lost his own wife and their child during birth. Since then, he'd built walls so high around his heart that he'd forgotten how to feel. But watching Clara, seeing the fierce love she had for her child despite having nothing, something inside him cracked open. When she tried to thank him and leave, he stopped her. "You don't have to go back out there," he said. "Stay for now. I'll help you get back on your feet." Pride flickered in her tired eyes. "I can't take advantage of your kindness, sir." A faint smile touched Ethan's lips. "Then don't think of it as kindness. Think of it as repayment." "Repayment for what?" she asked. "For reminding me what hope looks like." In the weeks that followed, Ethan arranged for Clara to have a guest room, medical care, and a job in his company's cafeteria. The staff adored her humility and her baby Lily, who became a little ray of sunshine for everyone. Slowly, Ethan found himself visiting the cafeteria more often. Just to watch Clara and Lily, to hear the laughter that felt like music he had long forgotten. For the first time in years, he smiled without even realizing it. But the world can be unkind to miracles. Rumors started to spread that the CEO had taken in a homeless woman out of pity. The board questioned his judgment. Ethan didn't care, but Clara did. One night he found her in the lobby with her bags packed, tears streaming down her face. "You've done enough," she said softly. "People are talking. I can't be the reason you lose everything you've built." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Everything I've built means nothing compared to what I found." "Mr. Reed," she started. "Ethan," he corrected her gently. "Call me Ethan." His voice broke slightly. "You and Lily. You reminded me that there's still something worth living for." Clara's heart was torn. "But what if I fail again? What if I can't give Lily a good life?" He stepped closer, his eyes steady and full of a new kind of warmth. "Then I'll be there to make sure you don't." Months later, Clara wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. She was now managing the company's charity foundation, helping other single mothers find their footing. At the foundation's launch event, Ethan stood proudly by her side. And when a tiny voice called out "Papa" from Clara's arms, Ethan's eyes filled with tears he no longer tried to hide. He took Lily, kissed her forehead, and looked at Clara. "You gave me a family again," he said softly. Clara smiled through her own tears. "No, Ethan, you gave me a reason to believe again." The rain that had first brought them together now seemed like a distant memory, a gentle reminder that sometimes, even in the coldest of storms, two broken hearts can find their way back to warmth. This story shows us that no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Sometimes offering a hand to someone in need is the very thing that will heal your own heart. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched you, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more content that inspires and uplifts. See you next time.